is the Day of Atonement and God being judged linked with my purpose in life? To better understand, we have to look at the bigger picture. The Day of Atonement or the Day of Judgment is not merely a legal process during which God will examine the record of our sins to make sure that there is a confess next to each sin. There are two sides to the great controversy: God and Satan. Satan accused God of being unjust and unfair. Satan accused God before, let me fix this. Satan accused God before Adam and Eve of being selfish and a liar. The Bible tells us that Satan said, he said unto the woman, has God said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? The serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, for God does know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. In essence, Satan was casting doubt on God's government and character. He was insinuating that God had ulterior motives in forbidding Adam and Eve from eating of the tree. He does not, what he was saying is that God does not have the best intentions for you. He does not want the best for you. He doesn't really love you enough to allow you to reach your maximum potential, to be like him. That's why he doesn't want you to eat from the tree. Satan also questions God's relationship with his people. In another story, in the story of Job, he said that the only reason God, and hence all the saints, love God and serve him is because God is biased. If God would stop bribing his people, they would not love or serve him. Satan told God, does Job fear God for naught? Or here it is in the Good News translation, makes it easier. It says, Satan replied, would Job worship you if he got nothing out of it? So in the Garden of Eden, Satan said that God doesn't have the best intentions for you. He doesn't want you to eat from the tree because he doesn't want you to be as good as him. He's hiding something from you. And then here in the story of Job, he throws another accusation and he says, listen, the only reason Job is serving you is because you are bribing him. If Job gets nothing from you, then he will not serve you. In other words, there's twofold accusation in this story of Job in here. Satan accused God's people of not being honest and not rendering to God true heart obedience and love. The only reason they worship God is because they get something out of it. And also Satan accused God of not being fair and just. He is saying to God, your people will not love you if you do not bribe them. My government will be better. I can rule better than you. You're not fair. You're not just. You're not being truthful. You're not being honest. These are accusations that were directed against God. Not only that, but Satan has blamed God for all the evil that has happened. We see in the story of Job that God assumed responsibility for all what happened to Job. We read in Job chapter 2, verse 23, God is saying to Satan, you moved me against him to destroy him without a cause. God assumed the responsibility and he said, I destroyed Job. You, Satan, moved me against him to destroy him. And in Job's mind, it's not any different. We read in chapter 9, verse 17, chapter 9, verse 17, and chapter 27 and 34, have them all here. It says, for he breaketh me without a tempest. He, that is God, breaks me without a tempest and multiplieth my wounds without a cause. In chapter 27, we read Job saying, as God liveth, who has taken away my judgment, and the Almighty, who has vexed my soul. In chapter 34, Job says, I am righteous, and God has taken away my judgment. So even in Job's mind, Job blamed God for what has happened to him. And through Job's wife, Satan was confirming Job's thinking that it is God's fault by saying, Job's wife told Job, curse God and die. In other words, do this in revenge of what God has done for you. As a matter of fact, God went as far as saying that I create evil. Here it is in Isaiah 45. God is saying, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Now, before we go any further, I want to explain this verse so nobody misunderstands. You see, darkness is simply the absence of light. There is no such thing as darkness. You can't measure darkness. What you measure is light. And that's how you know how dark it is. Darkness is the absence of light. And in the same way, evil is the absence of God. So in other words, when God says, I create evil, God is taking responsibility for him withdrawing his spirit from those who are evil and who cause evil, and from eventually this evil planet. So by God saying, I create evil, it's not that God went out of his place and he created evil. No. It's because people have pushed God away, and by God withdrawing his spirit away, evil is present. But God took responsibility for it. That's what it means, I create evil.